Everyone she knew told her not to do this, that it was crazy, it was dangerous. You have to be insane to choose this. Esha Mehta, great-granddaughter of Kirtilal Mehta and the granddaughter of Prabodh Mehta, one of the first Indian merchants to set up shop in Antwerp, Belgium. Born on the 5th of March 1993, blessed by the Pope when she was just a few months old, this child was destined to be driven by curiosity. She lived her first 10 years in Tel Aviv, Israel, and came back to Antwerp in 2004. Here, she attended the Antwerp International School, following the legacy of her family. Through the passage of time, her thirst for life, or what seemed like the fear of being caught in the mundane, kept growing. From a brown belt in karate to an advanced open water scuba diving license to being a qualified national pool lifeguard, she went on to become the captain of the football team and the coach and captain of the netball team, and wasn't behind when it came to skiing, cricket and badminton. But for this young adventurer, this world would never be enough. So right after completing her degree in biomedical science from the University of Reading, UK in 2014, she decided to take up the challenge of a lifetime.
And when she said, I'm going to sail around the world, I was apprehensive at the very minimum, scared, excited, and we didn't know what to expect. Nobody has ever sailed before, and least of all having gone to sail around the entire world. She's really not the kind of girl who will sit in a lab or sit in an office, do a desk job, but she really wants to go out and see the world and explore.
It was a hard challenge to accept that my daughter was going to go for the most difficult, the longest, most grueling ocean race in the world, the Clipper.
One of the biggest challenges of the natural world, and an endurance test like no other, the Clipper Round the World Yacht Race. It's the world's longest ocean race, measuring 40,000 nautical miles on a 70-foot racing yacht. But that's not all. The most interesting part is that this challenge is taken on by ordinary, everyday people. Taxi drivers rub shoulders with chief executives. Vicars mix with housewives. Students work alongside bankers. And engineers team up with rugby players for the race of their lives. Everyday people become ocean racing athletes who overcome the most challenging conditions on the planet.
When Esha came to me telling me she wants to do the Clipper race, at first I didn't react. Then when I found out about the race, I said, has she gone mad? She wants to go sailing around the world? I told her, do anything else. Why do you want to do such a grueling race? And I was worried about her. At the end, I said, listen, go do the training and then we will see.
But before Esha could compete, she had to complete 4 levels of training. Apart from building teams, learning the ropes, cooking, cleaning and racing, she was taught the basics of yacht maintenance and management, racing tactics, survival at sea, and weather routing. But the most important skill was learning to be a part of a multidisciplined, high-performance team that will function in every condition that Mother Nature can throw at it. Taken from her own Clipper blog, Esha said, it's amazing how much you learn through the levels. It's mad, it's fun. Level 1 was a lot of teaching. Level 2 was getting used to the life. Levels 3 and 4 were very similar, but 4 was obviously even more realistic because of the racing. And you don't come in at night, so can't take a shower. It's shocking, but a week actually flew by. I'm not sure where the time went. I'm not used to living at a 45-degree angle, but who is? We had quite a lot of that during level 4. Tacking and falling out of my bunk too. I now know how to tie a very solid lee cloth. Like most, I learned the hard way. Also, the cooking and getting a bit seasick downstairs had been a challenge that I had to beat.
Esha came back from the training so happy, and she said she loved it. There was no convincing her otherwise, and she was going to sail around the world.
When Esha first told me about this, I thought she was going crazy. I was like, why would you want to sail around the world on a tiny little boat that could barely survive half the storms that's going to be thrown at it? And then eventually she was like, no, I have to do it. And eventually I tried to convince her to do half the race. And she was like, why would I stop halfway around the world when I could see the entire world? And it was difficult to argue against that. But eventually I came around to it and I was quite supportive of it.
I was horrified when I saw the boat because it's like, are you joking me? There's not even a shower on the boat. There's just 2 bathrooms and a little hole in the wall for a kitchen. You have to share a bed with somebody because you sleep half the time, they sleep half the time.
Esha came to me and told me that she would like to go for 1-year world race. I was so thrilled. I said, go ahead, God bless you.
And so, the young adventurer set sail for 40,000 nautical miles of experience and adventure. The 12 70-foot yachts make up the world's largest matched fleet of ocean racing yachts. They are the shining jewels of the clipper race crown. As with all lean, mean ocean racing yachts, the Clipper 70s are not for the faint-hearted. They are by design stripped of all luxuries. Esha and the crew became experts at living in a confined space, managing all their kit and belongings as they settled into their new home. All that is asked of participants is a good level of fitness, an age over 18, and a thirst for adventure into the unknown. Divided into 8 legs and 14 to 16 individual races, Esha could choose to complete the full circumnavigation or select individual legs. But the young adventurer never gave up. Esha became a part of the LMAX exchange team, and so it began on the River Thames in London. Starting from Thames with several days of challenging upwind sailing to pass the northwest corner of France to the notorious Bay of Biscay. Make one wrong decision and they could have been caught in the wind shadow of the huge mountains that extend to more than 100 miles out to sea. Then the dreaded doldrums, where wind holes, squalls, humidity and unpredictable conditions will try even the most stoic crew members. And then the visit to the court of King Neptune. With an old ocean folk song on their lips, the crew crosses the equator and goes from the northern to the southern hemisphere. LMAX Exchange won the opening race from London to Rio de Janeiro in style. Nearly 24 hours ahead of second place Qingdao. The points are accumulated in a Formula 1 style scoring system. The winner of each stage is awarded 12 points, the second 11 points, and so on down to 1 point for 12th. The yacht with the highest cumulative points wins the Clipper Race trophy. At the end of each leg comes the beginning of another race. So after enjoying a Brazilian welcome with shots and samba bands, it was time for the South Atlantic. Esha and her team raced towards the Cape of Good Hope with a painful last few miles. But their delayed start, due to the damages that the boat had suffered in its previous race, had resulted in a sudden drop of form as the team finished 10th on elapsed time. Known as the Southern Ocean sleigh ride for its obvious dangers, here Esha and her team, surfing downwind at more than 25 knots on swells higher than buildings, even saw their yacht glide at 110 degrees. This was where they experienced Mother Nature at her most raw and beautiful. The LMAX team had got it right, another victory, with a ride that made the world see exactly what Esha and her new friends were made of. The leg 4 is divided into 3 more races. The first one from Albany, Western Australia to Sydney. The LMAX team scored another victory above this cold Antarctic water, one of the most inhospitable parts of the planet. It was clear that Esha and her team had left behind their leg 2 defeat and had fired up all their engines to get 2 back-to-back race victories, stamping themselves back at the top of the overall leaderboard. The second race, also called the Rolex Sydney-Hobart Yacht Race, is one of the world's most renowned sailing races. In fact, widely considered as one of the most difficult yacht races for attracting racing yachts from around the world. However, this year, all the top competing teams were forced to abandon the race due to bad weather. But not the Clipper racing teams. Esha and her team battled the strong currents as they passed through Storm Bay to finish third. The third race, Hobart to Airlie Beach, Queensland, was one laborious race. This was the LMAX team's narrowest victory. The team swapped the lead back and forth in the final days and ended up claiming the win by just 42 seconds on its rival. By now, Esha and her team had already achieved 5 podium finishes. And with victories come celebrations, a small, well-deserved break to relax. The leg 5 again is divided into 2 races. Esha had to take a quick break to join one of her close friends' wedding. It was during this leg that her team had stopped racing temporarily to explore an abandoned yacht they had come across in their path. One of the crew members swam aboard, where he unfortunately found a lone deceased male. A poignant and sobering reminder for all on board the competitive team. Esha returned on time for the next race to Qingdao, China. On best days, Esha could get 3 hours of sleep. From making water to cooking, Esha and her team had to keep the oven and gas on, making the temperatures reach up to 40 degrees below deck. But despite the extreme heat, the LMAX team finished third. The Pacific Ocean, the largest of the world's 5 oceans and also the most notorious. Keeping a competitive focus and holding together the crew morale was a constant challenge. It was during this dangerous leg that Sarah Young, a 40-year-old English lady who was part of the Icor coal boat, was knocked off by a wave and swept away by the strong Pacific winds. Her body was recovered, but it was too late. Even Esha had second thoughts about being part of this leg. But with the Californian coast being as frustrating as it was, the LMAX team proved to be very stubborn and finished third. Another podium finish for Esha and her team. Divided into two races, the first one from Seattle to Panama placed the LMAX team back on the top of the podium after scraping it out with Clipper Telemed Plus. In the final stages, there were just meters between the two teams after 20 days through sweltering heat and wind holes. However, this was no easy victory. The race from Seattle to Panama tested them in many extreme ways. But this was also the race with a huge pod of jumping dolphins, beautiful sunsets, and days of sunshine. So from thermals, the crew shifted to sunscreens. But ultimately, winning this one was one of the greatest wins, a roller coaster on water. The next race from Panama City to New York provided some spectacular backdrops. The air was alive with static outside the Big Apple, but there was no podium celebration for LMAX Exchange. With all boats identical and budgets equal, no one has a head start. It's the ultimate long-distance match race, and the winners are those who keep their focus the longest. The sea did not distinguish between Olympians or novices. There was nowhere to hide if Mother Nature throws down the gauntlet. Esha and the crew had to be ready to face the same challenges as the pro racer. The Atlantic homecoming leg. Just a few nautical miles separated the first 11 teams. Any mistake or lack of focus will result in position changes in such tightly formed groups. The distance between the boats continued to tighten. The Clipper Telemed Plus team and LMAX Exchange were holding the first and second place. But a cat and mouse chase for nearly 24 hours saw the Londonderry-Durry team take the first place, with LMAX Exchange just a few miles away at the second place. They would see each other in the sunset and lose each other at night. Then the sails would suddenly appear. A nail-bitingly close finish looks guaranteed. This would be one thrilling finale. Eventually, it was LMAX Exchange that won, following a fierce battle with Londonderry-Durry overnight. With positions changing often, before the overall race leader, LMAX Exchange managed to squeeze a 2 nautical mile advantage. Then came the short sprint to Den Helder, the Netherlands, but with extreme tidal conditions. LMAX Exchange at the lead, and Londonderry-Durry, not far behind, saw another battle, and soon Londonderry-Durry was ahead of LMAX Exchange. The leads kept changing, and Londonderry-Durry in fourth kept maintaining its aim of finishing ahead of overall race leader LMAX Exchange. They had started this race 9 points behind LMAX Exchange in the overall race standings. But LMAX Exchange was penalized for sail damages and lost 2 points. That gap was now narrowed to 7 points and eventually came down to 6, setting up a very exciting finish in London in the next race, with the top spot on the podium up for grabs. Then came the last race. The pressure was on. Make a mistake and finish in the back of the fleet, and the title could be lost at the last moment. With all eyes on the final 36-hour sprint from Den Helder to London, Londonderry-Durry went all out, winning the final race and safe in the knowledge that they had done all they could in their last effort. However, Esha and her team also put in a strong, determined effort and took third place. After dueling together for the final 2 days, in a nail-biting conclusion, LMAX Exchange found the stronger winds approaching the Greencastle finish line and crossed just 5 nautical miles ahead of the hometown team, and so won the Clipper 2015-16 race by 5 points. They glided themselves to victory. Esha had navigated the doldrums en route to South America, endured epic Southern Ocean storms, experienced the South African sunsets, faced the mountainous seas of the North Pacific, and bonded with an international crew, creating lifelong memories before returning victorious. Esha and her LMAX exchange team, under the leadership of Olivier Cadet, had achieved a staggering 10 podium finishes, which included 6 race wins and 4 third places. Esha was now a champion, and the team she was a part of, LMAX Exchange, became the champions of Clipper Round the World Race 2015-16.
Esha, darling, you have done the most marvelous job. I wish you continue like this and have more self-confidence.
Bravo, Esha. So proud of you. You're amazing. You're a star. You did it. Nobody had a doubt that you would do it. So proud of you, darling. Godspeed and climb more to the stars.
We love you. Congratulations on being the first Indian girl to circumnavigate the globe in a sailboat and also win the Clipper Around the World Yacht Race. Love you.
We love you. Well
so glad you're back.
And we're going to see you when you come back now. Well done.
Esha, you have made your dream come true. These are 2 of your generations that you have set an example, and they are hoping that even their dreams come true like this.
Esha, so proud of you, of what you went through out there in the sea, and it's amazing to hear all your stories. Would want to hear more and more. Good luck.
Esha, we are very proud of you. We are all very happy that what you did, what you wanted to do. Not only that, but you are an inspiration to other girls.
When we asked Esha about the race, about her experience, she said, "This race, do it for the right reason, but find a reason and do it. For those who are lost, who don't know what to do with their lives, this is a great way to see the world, to see what's out there." Esha Mehta is currently doing her MSc in Forensic Science from King's College, London, and looking for another adventure, another victory. Not all those who wander are lost. Some wander to find themselves.